Okay, let me do this to show you how to create some of these awards. Maybe I'll start with something like this. Talk about how to do like a silhouette and a profile using the spline tool. Uh, Maybe talk about a cool tool that I found that's an alternative tool for you to do something cool like this with a wave spring, how to use a loft to do this one. So I'll try and do this quickly. With any of these, you're going to have to start with some plane somewhere. You're going to need to sketch on it, make a closed profile, and then you'll either extrude it or revolve it or loft it or sweep it. But usually you extrude or revolve, create your initial geometry. So I'm just going to create this, maybe something like this real quick first as an example. I choose the ground plane and then I could sketch, and I could put a 2-point rectangle on there or a center point rectangle. It doesn't matter. Done. And then I can extrude that up. One of the cool other features that has under extrude is you could draft it. So that'll make it draft out a little 3 degrees of an angle. You can increase that. So I'll make it 6 in this case and pull it up a little higher. And you can reverse that, by the way, taper it in a pyramidal way. But in this case, I'm going to do that. I'm going to say OK. And then I can tip the top here, similar to what they've shown here, by doing this feature. It's called a draft. I need to select a neutral plane first, the plane that won't change. And that has to be adjacent to the plane so if I plan to tip this top up a little bit, I'm going to select this as my neutral plane. Then that is the one to draft. You see how that worked? And then I could say OK. And I can do that again. So I can draft this way and then make it even go up at a different angle here. OK. So now I have this sort of obtuse angle and shape to this, which is kind of more interesting. It's a little funner. And lastly, to get you can cut these elements out of the cube and shell it, and even cut this, like say, arrow out here. So they actually do have a shell option here in the top here. So I'm just going to do that. Shell it, faces to remove. I'm going to remove this one on the back and this one on the back. Almost there, really. And then I can select on this face and I can say new sketch. And this is a quick, powerful tool off to use. It's the offset tool. See how it's going? It's offsetting the whole perimeter of that face, but in this case, I want to do it on the inside. And I think lastly, they have a couple of radii. I always put my fillets in that on the after the sketch. So I'm just going to say select that. And then what am I going to do with that? You guessed it. I'm going to come over here and remove extrude. How far? Just far enough, right? It goes all the way through it. That's good. Same with this space. New sketch. Use the offset tool. Extrude it. Make sure I remove material. Okay. And then what I was talking about, I could put these fillets in the corner. Actually, if I select this whole face, nope, that's not what I want. So I'll put these fillets, I'd put these fillets in the corners, similar to what they did on theirs. You just kind of take your time and make sure you pick every one of them. That way, if you want to go change the size of that fillet later, you just got to change it one time. And we'll change it for all of them. And then that arrow on the top, I would come over here and they do it out of the corner, which is possible. And I'm just going to, again, create a new sketch. For the arrow, you could take your time to get that right. I'm just going to really kind of rough that in real quickly. Maybe just do something like that. And finish that. And now I can pick that profile right there. And of course, do what we always do. Come up here, remove. I can go down with it. Maybe say something like that. So you kind of see that I'm getting something close to what they've shown in that model. All right. Now let's talk about something like this. This is a lot harder. Onshape isn't built to do this type of art sculpting, but what it can do is something similar or close. So how about we take a look at that? Let me show this one. So over here on the part side, I'm just going to show it. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch on the right plane. And if I go find a silhouette, so a silhouette is a handy little word. That means silhouette. Um, of, let's say, an angel. There we go. So I could go find a silhouette of an angel. And actually, I can save that image and import it into Onshape. That's one thing that's pretty easy to do with Onshape. So I'll show you how to do that. If you save this image onto your computer, I already did an example for this of another student. And in Onshape, by the way, if I go here, I can go back out, I can import files, Angel, open. And then when I'm going back into my model here, I can select on that plane again, that right plane, and then I can new sketch. And once I'm in the sketch environment, you can go back here and insert the image. And select the image. I go to my other documents, my Onshape, and there I will find the image here. And then I think the last thing it wants me to do is I select the image and then I draw a rectangle to represent how big I want that. Okay. This is great because what I can do with this now is I can sketch on top of it to create my geometry. How do we do that? It's the old spline tool. So when I select the spline tool, oops, sorry. So go back into that sketch. That one's good. Actually, what I'm going to redo is I'm going to click on that right plane one more time and say new sketch. And that way I can draw more clearly over top of the image that's there. So remember with the spline tool, when you're using it, you don't have to fuss too much about getting it just perfect because you're just trying to get it roughed in for the first go round. So I'm putting basically a point at every transitional point like that. The hair would be a little bit more difficult, that's true, but it can be done in simple terms. I could do this all the way around and you would need to have a closed profile. You can also stop at points, that's okay. And remember with the spline tool, like I've showed you guys before, you can go back in and edit it. And that's where you can get it just, oops, Let me do Control Z. That's where you can come back here and move these right into the position that you want. And if there's a place on here that is, you may decide, okay, I can't get that quite the way I wanted. You can always right click on it and say insert spline points. I can put more control points on it. So that's the way you can get it done all the way around. And for this exercise, what I'll do is I'll just really quickly kind of finish this out so I can show you then what you'd really want to do with this. Uh, so let me just do a rough go. For this exercise, I'm just going to skip this detail here. So let's just assume I've spent a little bit more time than this and had a closed profile. And now if I can pick that profile, then just like other things, I can extrude it, right? So that would be one way of trying to get, like, say, figures designed for this 3D print. Um, all right, so that's that one. Let me talk about this one and then this one real quick. Let me no-show this one. Okay, and I'll go ahead and no-show that sketch too. So loft. So what I showed you when we did a loft before is you need two sketches, one on the bottom, one on the top, or whatever. Uh, it could also be like the wing that we did, but you need two sketches that you're connecting. So in this case, I start with a sketch on the ground plane and maybe just keep it real simple. So let me go back and look at that. It could be round, right? Nah, I want to sketch. I want a plane up here higher to finish up my second portion. So I hit the plane creation of a plane tool, which is here. And there's all kinds of ways to create a plane, but the most common is just the standard default one, which is just offset plane, not that, but not from that plane. Offset, not from that plane. I need to click that off. There we go. Try this again. I'm going to offset from that plane. I want it up higher there, and now I can select that one and sketch. In this case, again, I'm not going to take too much time to redo the whole detail of the recycle symbol here, but I'll just try to sketch that out real quick. You could also import an image here, and just like with the other doing the angel, you could create your image over top of it. So maybe I'll just put this in real quick with the spline tool. All right. Say you wanted that to that, and again, there would be three of them there all the way around. You would take a little bit more time than I just took to get that right. But then again, that's a loft. So you're going from this one to this one, right? And you could have all three up there too. And you would get some kind of effect like that. And you could have fun with that as well. Again, you could draft it if you wanted to add more element to it. So I could say select that as my neutral plane and that is my face to draft, and I could like tip it. So you see I've already got a pretty compelling, interesting form that way pretty quickly. All right. So one other thing I wanted to show you. So this one actually is two parts molded. The one in the background could be like, say, a loft that you go in and cut holes out of. But this element here on the outside, I also want to show you really quick lettering, by the way. So anytime you have a plane, remember, you can put lettering on that just by going New Sketch and use the lettering tool. Now, this is kind of not really the orientation that I want. I would want to rotate that and change it and do some other things, but just looking really quick at those transform tools. Let me come back to that one. That one, I haven't worked with that tool very much. And so I need to refresh myself on how to get that moved and rotated around. But what I want to do is show you, what was it? This. Oh yeah, this other tool that I found. So I found there's this app store that connects to different types of apps, and one of the things I found was something called a wave spring. So let me no show that one, and no show that for right now. And here it is. It's a wave spring. Yeah, it automatically puts a very compelling and interesting 3D wave spring. You can define how big, what the inside outside diameter is, the free height, the number of turns. So if I try and make more turns, it doesn't always accept my changes. See, it didn't actually take on that. Let me just reduce them. As long as it can do the math, it figures it out for you. So that's an interesting form. There's also this Helix tool, which can do different types of form like that. So hopefully, anyways, that is enough to give you some start if you're struggling to get a start on something, okay? Um, so best of luck. I'm here to help you. That's why I want to be able to meet with you and your group in a one-on-one group if you need to just get you started if you need the help, all right?